Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Najwa. It's the real Najwa. I'm so happy you're here. If you're new here, hit that like and subscribe button, hit that bell so you know whenever I post a video. I would love to have you here. We talk about all things from TV and movie reviews to politics to pop culture to motivation, anything, child. This is the real Najwa, so we talk about it all. I would love to have you. Today we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Orange County season 18. I know last season, for season 17, I actually had the chance to review each episode. And looking back now, I'm sorry, I have like a cough drop in my mouth. Looking back now, I'm like wondering, how did I have time to do that? Because it just didn't play out that way this season. But I have been following along for you other Housewife fans, and yes, it's been something. So it's going to be, I guess, a little less structured today. Usually it would be a little bit more structured if I had time to, where I would like do a review of each episode. But honey, girl, child, that just did not happen this time. So I'm basically just going to give a more sort of holistic overview, bucket sort of take on how I was feeling about the whole season. Everybody's kind of different storylines and happenings. I don't know, storyline, these are real people. I guess like the things that were going on in people's lives this season, and basically people's reactions to things and how I was feeling it or I was not feeling it. So let's just go by it one by one. So first of all, who do we have this season? I'm looking at Google so I can refresh my memory. We of course have Tamra Judge. We had Jen Pedranti. Alexis Bellino was a friend on this season. Gina Kirschenheiter. Oh my God, I don't think I've ever pronounced her last name. Gina K. She's got a last name. Shannon Storms Beador and Katie Ginella. Okay, Katie. I'm just gonna call everybody by their first name. So Tamra, Jen, Alexis as a friend, Gina, Shannon, and Katie. And I don't know why Google is not mentioning. Oh, okay. So Emily Thompson, Heather Dubrow, and Vicki Gunvalson also as a friend. I hadn't scrolled over, so I didn't see the other names. But yes, of course, we also have Emily Simpson, Heather Dubrow, and Vicki Gunvalson. So first of all, we see from the very beginning there is this animosity between Tamra and Shannon. It was really, really weird with Tamra going after Shannon. She was just relentless. She was like a dog with a bone, saying that Shannon's an alcoholic. You know, if you look at my last video where I covered Shannon's DUI, Shannon Storms Beador, her DUI, and I was saying I was praying for her, and you know, I really looked at Shannon as the victim in that sense. And I'm not saying that's completely changed. I really still think that she was in a toxic relationship with John Jensen or whatever. But then again, like, what do we know? Like, this is a reality show. We don't see like 100% the, you know, these people's lives. But I've always kind of liked Shannon. And I don't know, like, I've seen a little bit of season 18 review. I'm going to do another video, like, really analyzing more like the reunion, not the review. But I've seen a little bit of season 18 reunion. I'll do another like video covering that. But as far as the season itself, going into the season, I was behind Shannon. I knew she had made a mistake, but it seemed like she was atoning for those mistakes. I saw that she was taking steps to make amends with people, that it seemed like she was trying to take a look at her drinking and evaluate it and see if she needed to make some changes, right? And on top of this, you know, the Tres Amigas, Shannon, Tamra, and Vicki, you know, like, they would get drunk and hop in pools and, you know, strip and you know, flash people in Mexico and, you know, try to get Gretchen drunk and admit stuff. You know, it's like the drinking and bad behavior is a part of what makes housewives housewives. So to me, initially, for Tamra to be coming so hard after Shannon saying that she had a drinking problem was like the pot calling the kettle black to me. I was like, okay, if you're going to be sitting here and being that way, like, you should also point to your own bad behavior. Not to mention all the issues that Tamra had with her first marriage and her children and all that stuff. It seems like kind of hypocritical for her to be so judgmental. On top of that, you already have this element where Tamra is like she's like oh my god, how do you even describe it? I talked about it in my last video. She's sort of like a dark empath, or like a provocateur, if you will. Like, she is somebody who like pushes people's buttons, and it seems like the motivation is not only to see how they react, but in her mind herself, she sees herself as like a blunt person or a truth teller. But me, having followed the Housewives all the way back from back in the day, I think that's more a result of her relationship with her parents, her relationship with the effects of her parents' divorce, and like some patterns that she has made throughout her life. But I mean, that's just me wearing my psychology hat, whatever. Either way, I thought that Tamra was being a bit too harsh on Shannon. You know, like, they had been so close in the past. I thought she should be coming from a place of more understanding and love, but she was being really harsh. And we saw something very similar with Tamra, with who she's cozy with this season, Alexis Bellino. That was weird to me, and on top of that, I feel like Tamra is like someone who just, you know, they don't really admit that there are some things in their life that they need to improve upon. You know, like, she doesn't admit that, you know, there are some things that she could explore as far as humility and growth until like the friggin' total 12th hour. You know, like, we look at what happened with Alexis Bellino, that she gave Alexis Bellino that name Jesus Jugs, which has stuck for so long, and now she's friends with her again. Gretchen, she went after Gretchen and what is his name, not Jade, oh my goodness, why is you guys know who I'm talking about? Joe's old boo, Gretchen's baby's dad. What is, not Jade, not Zane, something like that, whatever. But she went after them so hard, and then she ended up coming back years later and apologizing to Gretchen and getting close to her. And the timing is always questionable. The timing has always been like these other housewives are like moving up on the show or like getting more attention. That's when it's like she starts to strategize. So I think she's a very strategic person. I think she's got some issues from her past, but she plays it off like that's just her being a bad bitch, you know, and I don't 100% buy it. So when that happened with Shannon, it was really, really weird. The other thing that I felt this month, I'm going to go ahead and get Tamra and Shannon out the way. The other thing that I felt this month in looking at the reunion was Shannon seemed like, on the snippets that I've seen in the reunion, and then going and looking at what some people were saying on social media, I think that Shannon does have a little bit of that, like, Karen element to her. I've basically always been behind her back. When she storms out of her room crying, when she says that everybody is against her, I think I fell for the trap, y'all. Like, I was always like, okay, like, she's hurting and she wants her girlfriends to be behind her and stuff. But now there are people who are saying she always makes herself out to be the victim, you know, like, and now that I'm going back and looking at it, I'm like, was it true? Was I wrong this whole time? I don't know. The jury's still out. You know, there's a lot of people that say that Shannon is the same as Heather Dubrow, as in, and this is what they say, not what I say, because I actually really like Heather Dubrow. They say that Heather Dubrow is basically, you know, I don't know, like white trash, but like with a glass of champagne in his hand. I don't know. You're like, that's not what exactly like verbatim what people say, but they get to that sense. Like, they try to like allude to that type of thing. Like, she's like trailer trash, but she just has money, you know, and she has like a poised way of talking and this good vocabulary. And people online are saying that Shannon is actually another side of the coin of that. I don't agree with that, but she's another side of the coin of that, but just not as subtle or as polished as that. Do I really buy that? No. Because usually I am on the side of Heather. I think that Heather is just someone who is like very, very, and I could be wrong. Like, I'm starting to question my thoughts about Shannon for these past 10 seasons or whatever. So I could be wrong. But Heather seems like someone who is very like straightforward. She's not going to get her and her family. I think her family is her #1 priority. she's not going to get them mixed up in some unnecessary gossip, some unnecessary drama. If she feels like you're coming after her family, she tries to immediately separate herself from the drama and rise above it. That's pretty much always how I've seen Heather Dubrow. And I honestly, I like that in her. I like that she really tries to hold herself up to a higher standard, you know, like it's a reality show, but you don't have to, you know, divest in yourself to, you know, keep the drama coming. And so that's how I was feeling about it. And then Katie came into the scene. Now Katie, she grew up in the city I grew up in Atlanta. Or did she grow up there or did she stay there? She lived in Atlanta, and so and she also has this interesting storyline about being adopted. Like, I think her parents are white, but she's actually an Asian woman. She's got this background about sort of like being adopted and discovering more about herself. And then you've got Gina Kirschner. Why do I want to call her Gina Kirschner? Gina K. Her last name is really, really hard. And I've never really cared for Gina. Like, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I've never really cared too much for Gina. But this season, I think that Gina got the short end of the stick. Like, I really respect Heather. And then that thing with the real estate where, you know, Gina felt like Heather sold her under the bus. I don't know. Jury's still out for me as well. I don't know if I should take Heather's side or take Gina's side. I do also know that between women, you know, female friends, oftentimes there are times where, you know, sometimes emotions run high and you know, you got to work stuff out. That's what happens with friends. Friends are just like your family. Like, stuff comes up and you got to figure it out. Katie, I feel like her kind of getting wrapped up in all that stuff with Heather and Gina, I do feel like she did kind of prematurely insert herself into stuff. I feel like she prematurely judged Heather before she really knew her. She came in. I mean, Katie came in with her mindset like, she lied, she's a liar, and I'm going to be the one to call you out about it. And Heather is a powerful person. Like, not only is she like sort of a OG on the show, but just literally within that world, within that Orange County world, her as an actress, like, she does have contacts and stuff. It's not to say that she's gonna go destroy someone, but I do feel like, you know, that was wrong of her to approach that way, Katie. While I do really like her, you know, there's something really real about her. And I feel like that, I don't know if they're going to bring her back for the next season. I feel like that was a deciding factor for her. And I really hate that because she really seems like a nice, smart lady. And, but whatevs, we'll see. Emily, she's always like the comedic relief for me for the show. Even Gina, even though I don't care too much for Gina's personality. I do think that Gina and Emily, it's just the way they play off of each other brings some element of almost like the millennials to the show. I don't know if they're millennials. They might be Gen X, but like that millennial Gen X sort of less seriousness than the other women on the show, who probably are later Gen X or early baby boomers. And Jen, I love Jen. I freaking love Jen. I think that she's a total sweetheart. I don't know about her and much about her and her husband, but hey, even in my own life and even in my own friend circles between myself and colleagues, acquaintances, I don't involve myself in other people's businesses, their relationships, their marriage, or nothing like that. And I don't want them being involved in mine. That put me with Heather Dubrow, put me with Lisa Vanderpump, but hey, you come after my family, it's like, listen, I mean, it's cut off, you know, like, we can say hi, be cordial, wop wop at the parties and stuff, but I mean, it's just like, no, you don't have time for that drama. And it's like I said in that video, you know, when I heard about Kyle possibly exploring her sapphic side and her separating with her husband, it's like, don't let this culture that exists out there, this social media Hollywood culture, seep up into your family life and your marriage. So I don't know, like, I thought that Jen and the way people kept coming off of her and Ryan was inappropriate. You know, and I felt the same way with Brooks. Even if Brooks was lying about his cancer, whatever, all of that stuff, which I really think Brooks did that to just give those women the middle finger, and I think it just spun out of control. But either way, you have to let people make decisions for themselves. And I think that this show actually profits off of overreaching and creating an environment where these storylines bleed outside of people's life and into fiction sometimes. And that's where it feels staged and it feels rough. And Alexis, last point. What in the heck? You know, it's like, did she have such a visceral hate for Shannon to come and just be like this aggressive? It just was weird, you know, and I think it's probably ruined her chances of ever coming back. Bring back old Alexis, you know, bring back like Jesus jugs, for lack of a better word. Bring back, you know, like the good girl Alexis. This one, I'm not as sure as much what to do with it, but I want to know you guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments. And again, if you're new here, hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell so you know whenever I post a video, and I'll see you next time.